If I tell you that a wedding was planned in Lagos, the hall was decorated, guests were waiting, and the bride was in a white gown, just minutes before she said, I do, a dark secret about her groom came out that almost destroyed her life. Would you believe me? This is the true story of Juliet, a young woman who thought she had found love but almost married the wrong man until his hidden truth was exposed in the most shocking way. And if you're just joining us, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story like this one. Juliet was a beautiful and intelligent young lady who grew up in Surulere, Lagos. She was known in her neighborhood for humility, her smile, and her ability to treat everyone with respect, whether rich or poor. Her father was a retired civil servant, and her mother was a school teacher. Life was not always easy for Juliet, but she carried herself with dignity and had big dreams of making her family proud. After finishing university, Juliet got a good job in a bank on the island. That was where her story truly began, because it was at the bank that she met the man who almost destroyed her future. His name was Richard. Richard walked into Juliet's bank one afternoon, tall, dark, and handsome, with a fine suit that looked like it came straight from abroad. He spoke with confidence, smiled with charm, and his calling filled the air like expensive perfume. From the first day, he made Juliet feel special. He would always come to her desk, crack small jokes, and ask about her day. In no time, he asked her out for lunch. Juliet was resistant at first because she was careful with men, but Richard seemed different. He was gentle, generous, and carried himself like a responsible man. Before long, Juliet and Richard were spending weekends together, going to nice restaurants, and even helped her parents financially when they needed it. Her father quickly grew fond of Richard, saying he was the kind of man who knew how to take care of a family. Juliet's mother was a little bit more conscious, but she saw how happy her daughter was and decided to support the relationship. Within 1 year, Richard proposed. It was a glamorous night at a luxury hotel in Victoria Island with candles, roses, and music. Juliet, overwhelmed with joy, said yes. Friends and family cheered, and social media buzzed with pictures of the engagement. Everyone thought Juliet was about to marry the perfect man, but as they say in Nigeria, not all that glitters is gold. As the wedding date drew closer, small things began to disturb Juliet. Sometimes Richard would disappear for days without explaining. Sometimes he would answer strange calls late at night and step outside. Once, she noticed a different woman's hearing in her car. When she asked him, he laughed it off, saying it belongs to his sister. But something inside Juliet began to worry her. Still, she convinced herself it was just stress. After all, Richard was kind and caring in so many ways. The bridal shower came, and Juliet's friends were so excited. But that night, one of her friends whispered in her ear, Juliet, are you sure about Richard? I heard some things. Juliet brushed it off, saying people always talk when they see someone happy. She believed Richard was the one. Then came the day of the traditional marriage in Benin, where Juliet's family was from. The hall was full of laughter, music, and food. Richard looked majestic in his native attire, but during the middle of the event, an older woman suddenly walked in with two children beside her. The hall went silent. The woman raised her voice and said, This man you are about to marry is already married, and these are his children. Juliet froze. Her heart almost stopped. Everyone in the hall gasped. Richard stood up quickly, denying everything. He said the woman was mad, and she was only trying to spoil his happiness. Security escorted the woman out, and Richard managed to calm Juliet down, swearing he didn't know her. Out of shame and confusion, Juliet's family allowed the ceremony to continue, but Juliet could not forget the moment. That night, she cried, but Richard begged her, saying enemies were trying to destroy him. Against her better judgment, she forgave him. The church wedding was not just a week away. Juliet kept trying to ignore her fears, but her best friend Amara insisted something was wrong. Amara secretly began investigating Richard. She checked his background, asked around, and one day she followed him when it was said he had a business meeting. What she discovered was shocking. Amara found out that Richard had a second house in Ikeja where another woman was living with his children. He was living a double life. Amara immediately rushed to tell Juliet, but Juliet refused to believe her. Love had blinded her. Finally, the wedding day came. The hall was decorated in white and gold. Guests filled the seats and music filled the air. Juliet walked in looking like a princess, her gown shining under the lights. Richard stood at the altar, smiling proudly. As the pastor asked if anyone had any reason why the two should not be joined together, a loud voice echoed from the back. "Stop this wedding now." Everyone turned. It was Amara, Juliet's best friend, holding a folder of documents and pictures. She walked straight to the altar and opened the folder, showing Juliet pictures of Richard with his secret family. Gas filled the air. Richard's face changed, sweat rolling down his forehead. He tried to snatch the folder, but it was too late. The truth was out. Juliet's world shattered at that moment. She broke down in tears, dropping her bouquet on the floor. But just when everyone thought the drama was over, another shocking twist came. From the back of the church, another man walked forward. He was dressed simply, but his presence commanded attention. He introduced himself as Michael, Richard's younger brother. Then he revealed something that nobody expected. Richard was not just a liar, he was a wanted man, involved in fraud and dirty business. Michael said he had tried to protect Juliet, but Richard threatened him. The police, who had been secretly investigating Richard, now entered the hall and arrested him right there at the altar. Juliet almost collapsed. Her dream wedding has turned into a nightmare. But as she cried, Michael gently held her hand and whispered, "You don't deserve this pain. You deserve true love, not lies." In the weeks that followed, Michael stood by Juliet, helping her heal, supporting her family, and showing her what real love looked like. Slowly, Juliet began to see him in a different light. And the most shocking part, months later, when Juliet finally found the courage to open her heart again, she did not expect it to be Michael, the brother of the man who almost ruined her life. Their love grew quietly, away from the noise, and in time, Juliet realized that sometimes life breaks you to lead you to something better. But the twist that everyone talks was this. On the day Michael finally proposed to Juliet, a letter arrived from prison. It was Richard, warning Juliet not to trust Michael, claiming he had two secrets she didn't know. Juliet stood there holding the letter, her hand shaking, wondering if her heart was about to face another storm. Juliet sat on her bed that night, holding Richard's letter. The words were written in his familiar handwriting, bold and hurried. "Juliet, don't be fooled. Michael is not the man you think he is. He is worse than me. Don't trust him." Her hand trembled. Tears filled her eyes. She felt like her heart was being torn into two. Could it be true? Could the man who confronted her after her heartbreak be hiding secrets of his own? She could not sleep that night. She kept hearing Richard's voice in her head. She remembered how charming Richard once seemed, how he made her believe she was in his world, only for his lies to destroy her. What if Michael was doing the same thing? But then she remembered how gentle Michael had been, how he stood by her when everyone else mocked her, how he didn't rush her into anything but allow her to eat. Days passed, but the doubt continued to haunt Juliet. Finally, she decided to confront Michael. They sat in a quiet cafe in Yaba, away from noise and eyes. Juliet placed the letter on the table and whispered, "Michael, what is this? Richard says you have secret. Tell me the truth." Michael looked at the letter for a long time. His shoulders dropped. He held Juliet's hand and said softly, "Juliet, I won't lie to you. Yes, I have secrets. Richard wants you to believe. Juliet's heart skipped. She pulled her hands away. What do you mean? She asked. Michael sighed deeply. Juliet, before you met Richard, I tried to warn you. He wasn't just into fraud, he was into very dangerous things. I worked with security agencies and I was one of the people giving information about his illegal activities. That was why I always kept my distance. But I fell in love with you quietly, even before Richard introduced you as his fiancé. Juliet's eye widened. You loved me before Richard? Michael nodded, pain showing in his eyes. Yes, but I never wanted to betray my brother. I stayed away until I saw how he was destroying you. I couldn't keep silent anymore. Juliet's chest tightened. A mix of emotions ran through her: anger, shock, and confusion. Was Michael telling the truth? Or was this another sweet lie like Richard's? Just then, Juliet's phone rang. It was Amara, her best friend. She sounded panicked. Juliet, you need to come to Ikeja now. I found something about Michael. Hurry. Juliet's hands shook as she dropped the phone. Michael's face grew pale. They drove in silence to Ikeja. When they got there, Amara stood outside a small bungalow, her face filled with fear. Juliet, she whispered, Michael has been hiding something. This house, it belongs to him. Juliet turned to Michael, demanding answers. Michael didn't speak. He walked to the door and opened it. Inside the house was a woman in her mid-30s with two children. The air froze. Juliet gasped. Amara had her mouth. The woman looked at Juliet, then at Michael, and said calmly, So this is her. Juliet's knees went weak. Michael, who are they? She asked with tears in her eyes. Michael took a deep breath. Juliet, listen. This woman is my late brother's wife. Richard abandoned her and the kids years ago. When Richard started chasing women in Lagos, I was the one taking care of his family secretly. If I had told you earlier, you would not have believed me. Juliet, these are Richard's real children. The room went silent. Juliet broke down crying, torn between anger and relief. She didn't know whether to trust him or walk away forever. Amara held her, whispering, At least you now know the truth. Weeks passed. Juliet took time away from both brothers' shadows. She traveled to Abuja to clear her mind, focusing on her job and healing. Michael kept trying to reach her, but she needed space. For the first time in years, she wanted to find herself again. But Lagos gossip does not rest. News spread that Richard had escaped from prison. Everyone was on edge. One evening, as Juliet was returning from work, she saw a shadow waiting near her gate. Her heart almost stopped. It was Richard. His face was rough, his clothes torn, but his eyes still carried that dangerous charm. Juliet, he whispered, Please, you are the only one I can trust. They all betray me. Michael, Amara, even my own family. Only you can save me. Juliet froze. Fear gripped her. Neighbors started gathering. Before she could respond, police vans crashed to a halt, surrounding the streets. Richard tried to run, but this time there was no escape. They dragged him away in handcuffs as he screamed Juliet's name. Juliet stood there shaking, tears running down her cheeks. The whole neighborhood watched. After that night, Juliet knew one thing. Her life could never be the same. Richard was gone for good. But what about Michael? Could she really open her heart to him after everything? Months later, Michael came again, this time without secrets, without shadows, just his heart. He knelt before Juliet with a simple ring and said, Juliet, I may not be perfect, but I will never lie to you. Give me a chance to love you right. Juliet stared at him for a long time. Then she smiled faintly and said, Michael, I have learned that the hard way that love is not about glamour, gifts, or secrets. It's about honesty and trust. If you promise me honestly, then I promise you my heart. The neighbors cheered. Amara cried tears of joy. For once, Juliet felt peace. She realized almost married the wrong man, but life had given her a second chance. But just when everyone thought it was a happy ending, another scandal broke. A week after Juliet accepted Michael's proposal, a strange envelope arrived at her office. Inside was a DNA result showing that one of Richard's children was not Richard's at all, but Michael's. Juliet's hand shook. Her heart pounded. Was it another lie? Or was this the final truth that would shatter everything again? And that, my friend, is where the story truly leaves us. She almost married the wrong man. Then a secret came out. But what if the right man has secrets too? The end. One powerful moral lesson from this story is love should never blind you to the truth. Always look beyond sweet word and appearance, because true love is built on honesty, trust, and patience, not lies or secrets. Please leave a comment, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.